Finals champion, a WPRA Rookie of the Year. Not one, not two, but 3 qualifications to the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo. CEO of the Ride Fearless brand and host of the Ride Fearless Show. This is Sydney Blanchard.
Hello, Las Vegas. Welcome to the Ride Fearless Show. I am your show host, Sydney Blanchard, and today we have a very special guest. An actor, a rodeo legend, Forrie J. Smith. You will get to meet him a little bit later. But first, please welcome to the stage our opening artist, Brett Hendricks. Welcome to the show, Brett.
Thank you for having me.
I know a little bit about you, and I've enjoyed your music for several years now, but tell everybody here a little about yourself. Where are you from, and how'd you get into the music industry?
No, I'm originally from Waco, Texas, but I live up in Colorado. I used to play guitar in a couple of different bands, mainly for a guy named Chanty Williams. And I was a solo act in Texas for a while, but Chanty got me to move to the Rockies, and I lived in Wyoming for a little bit, and then met my wife, and ended up in Colorado, like I said, so it's been fun.
You met your wife, and then all of a sudden you had all this inspiration for all of these love songs.
Yeah, that's true.
I heard a little about it, but did you bring a song here today that has a special meaning to you?
I brought a couple, but yeah, the one that you liked, I know for sure, because we talked about it, is Story to Tell, and I actually wrote it with my wife's best friend, and it's been a very special song just because, like you said, it's like one of those love songs, but it's about how everybody's got a story to tell when it comes to, you know, their significant other.
Well, we look forward to hearing it. Thank you. As soon as Brett has performed one of my favorite songs of all times, we will invite actor Forrie J. Smith on the stage, and we'll get to hear from him. Until then, I look forward to listening to your music.
I've been on the stretch, the truth, tell a while I want to, but now when it comes to you, we can't make this shit up. How did we end up in love? Now I can't get enough. The truth about how we met, girl, well, it's as good as it gets. And I just wanna tell everyone I know how we took it slow, but then we lost control. Baby, take a seat, kick up your feet. It's a long history of how we came to be. Everybody's asking how I know you so well. Baby, you're my favorite story to tell. Better than a midsummer's dream, when love ain't what it seems. Shakespeare got nothing on me. Romeo and Juliet, they love what they couldn't get. I want a tragedy. How you plan to tell your mama? Yeah, do you think she could handle the drama? I just wanna tell everyone I know how we took it slow, then we lost control. Baby, take a seat, kick up your feet. It's a long history of how we came to be. Everybody's asking how I was told to get 2, so me and my wife were debating all morning, like, what are you going to play? And she told me I should play this one. My dad, growing up, he made all my guitar straps and billfolds and what he did custom leather work. And a couple years ago, I sat down and I wrote this song called Leather because of that, and taking chances that I never expected to take in life, because sometimes it's what you got to do. But this song's called Leather. Grew up with that smell filling the air. A room across the hall from where we lived. From boots and belts to the strap I still wear. It's everywhere I look and I'll always be there. There's people I know where and when they ride. Some people like you give its own vibe. It's an armor that won't let you bleed. I guess when I left, it cut too deep. Cause from the time that I was young, I knew I was born to run and take the chance you never did. And casting all the doubt aside, I was never trying to hide. You always said I was the stubbornness. I don't break 'cause I bend. I guess I'm like a leather in the end. It's weird to share a name and not say a word. Been in the same place but not seen or heard. When you're taught to always stand your ground, gave up a long time ago, waiting to hear your pride. 'Cause from the time that I was young, I knew I was born to run and take the chance that you never did, and cast all the doubt aside. I was never trying to hide, but you always said I was the stubbornness. And I don't break 'cause I bend. And I guess I'm like a leather in the end. From the time I was young, I knew I was born to run and take the chance that you never did, and cast all the doubt aside. I was never trying to hide, and you always said I was the stubbornness. I don't break 'cause I bend. Yes, I'm like a leather in the end. it's called Leather.
Thank you, Brett, for opening for the most fearless show in Las Vegas. I thoroughly enjoy, obviously, the Story to Tell song, not just as a love story, but also as a story of camaraderie. And everybody has a story to tell, and that's kind of what this Ride Fearless show is all about. Is you don't only get to meet, the NFR athletes, some of the best singers that we have here in Las Vegas during the NFR, and movie stars, you get to hear what their fearless story is, and that's something that you do within your music.
Yeah, I mean, traveling the country just like rodeo folks, and also I'm a big stand-up comedian fan, but guys that are constantly on the road making their life that way, that's to me what fearless is.
Thank you so much, and I'm not sure what to do.
Yeah.
You say it. Okay. Tell us, how do we find you? Where are you going to be next?
You can find me online, Brett Hendricks Music. That's basically what all my tags are under. And I'm back in Colorado. I play all around the Rocky Mountains. We're working on getting everywhere next year. Hopefully the Carolinas and the East Coast. And back in Texas, where I'm from. We just played there a few weeks ago. And yeah, it's always a good time. You should come see us. So we play a big range of music. And it's honestly kind of funny. Some people don't expect us to play like pop punk, but I do that.
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah. I'll have to go to one of those shows.
It's fun.
And then hopefully circle right back here onto the Ride Fearless stage next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you so much. One more round of applause, please, everybody, for Brett Hendricks.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Yes. So we have a very, very cool guest today. He is a rodeo rock star, a wonderful actor. Let's check out a quick clip of Forrie J. Smith before he comes on stage.
Business becoming a man, ain't it? It's the alternative, though. You ain't got sense enough to pour warm piss out of your boot. Tell you something. Fort Worth, you just think the word fight, and fight will find you. You can't teach that.
Teach what?
Toughness. You're either born a willow, or you're born an oak. Hey, this ain't right. This ain't right at all.
I told you to mind your own business.
As far as I see it, I'm still the law around here.
You didn't do your job, and that's why I'm here doing it for you.
You're just a thug hiding behind a piece of tin. A lot of you. You're sandbagging her because she's seen something. It's no secret. So let's not pretend. I might be old, but I ain't blind or stupid.
There's something I want to talk to you about. I want you to stay home.
Stay on.
Oh, yeah, yes. We'll rebuild it back.
I've been here 43 years.
Yeah.
So home. Should have hated the thought of leaving. Thank you, boss. You can go to me than you know.
I know what it is, yeah. That's what it is.
Welcome to the stage, Forrie J. Smith.
I just had to see if I could still do that.
You did it. You caught quite a bit of air right there.
Cool. Hey, first off, I want y'all to know I'm here for this lady. For real, nobody else has anything to do with this but Sydney Blanchard. I'm here for her because she rides fearless. Thank you, darling.
Oh, I can't wait to cut that clip.
All right.
Forrie, I really enjoy watching your clips right there. I know that you've done a lot of work as a stunt double. You're an original to the bone cowboy, and you've now had some great parts as a main actor. And what I enjoy watching the most is I felt emotion just watching those short clips, and it didn't look like acting. It looked like Forrie Smith to me.
Well, that's what acting's all about, is putting yourself in that position. And that's one only thing I really learned in acting class was how to build a character so that if you work today and then next week, you can still be that same person if you have his background built up. And as Lloyd, he kind of wrote that part after me, and it really improved my acting because I don't know how to explain it. I could be Forrie, but I had to bring the emotions and everything of that scene, and it made it easier for me to go be somebody else in these other movies. I think I explained that. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't understand it either. This is a wild world I'm living in. Thank you, God.
Yes, God bless all. I mean, even this situation, you and I, right here on the Ride Fearless stage, it's one of my dreams, and I appreciate you making it come true. You grew up in a ranch family. You started rodeoing young. How did those early experiences shape your connection to the cowboy way of life?
I never thought of anything else. In my teenage years, when my mom throwed me out when I was 14, I kind of lived on the streets for a while. Even as a juvenile delinquent, I stole the car to get to the Butte Junior Rodeo. and my hair was so long that none of the other cowboys, I had to pull my own boot up. They didn't want nothing to do with me. So it's been in me even when I was living on the streets and a juvenile delinquent. I still wanted to rodeo. And I was living in a garage with some other kids. And my granddad pulled up and honked the horn. When I went out, and his arthritis had taken over. But he didn't trust anybody else to tie colts down for him to castrate them. And he came and got me out of that flop house to tie colts down for him that day. We had to castrate 2 colts for the neighbors. And so I've always been a cowboy, even when I didn't want to be, I guess, you know. And I'm so proud of it. American needs cowboys. The term cowboy originated right here in Texas during the Civil War. It's as Americana as you can get.
It sounds like your grandfather and your dad were well rooted into the rodeo world. What were the key lessons that were passed down to you while you were growing up throughout life?
Well, one of the things I still use to this day, I can remember one of the big roping calves bugged me off, and I was upset. I was probably 5, 6 years old, maybe 7. But come walking back, and one of the cowboys told me, he said, "Look, think about what you did wrong and forget it, and think about what you did right and build on it." And that's what rodeo cowboys do. You got 2 rodeos today, and you just messed one up this afternoon, but you got a good one drawed tonight. You better forget what you did wrong this afternoon and go and be thinking about what you did right. And the acting business is the same way. And being a rodeo cowboy is what made me a good stuntman, because I could break things down into steps and take deep breaths and relax. And the other thing that I was taught young, it wasn't until I started roping calves, 10 or 11. I think I was maybe 8 when the breakaway rope. But my granddad told me to smooth and cool and correct, and the will to win will take care of the speed. And I use that all the time as a stuntman for an example. You don't think this is hard, but when you rob a bank or whatever, and you got to run and jump on your horse, that's one of the hardest stunts there is.
Yeah.
Because that horse hears you running at him, and you're all jacked up, and he's going to be like, you know. So the last two steps, you got to go smooth and cool and slow. Boom! Next thing you know, you're riding out, and the other guys are still trying to get on. So smooth, correct, and the will to win will take care of the speed.
So it sounds like being a stuntman is one thing, but being a stuntman portraying a cowboy is something completely different, because you do have to think not just about your steps as the stuntman robbing a bank. You have to think that there's a live animal there that you have to be in tune with and realize they don't understand what's going on. How did you? What are some of the steps that you took to do that?
Well, usually it's the livestock coordinator's job to have the horse prepared for you to do what you want to do. I think it was 4 eyes and 6 guns. I had to jump out of a train onto a horse. And they come up there, and the horse was probably about where that speaker is at from the train. And I leaped and jumped, boom, I landed on it. I thought it was great. They hollered cut, and here come Richard Lundeen, the livestock coordinator, just chewed me out. That horse ain't going to be there for you next time. Then what were you thinking? I thought you were smarter than that. And there was a little more vulgar than that. But I said, well, what am I supposed to do? Go talk to your stunt coordinator. So I went over to Monty. I said, what did I do wrong? He says, Joe, when you jump on that horse, he says, land on your knees and then slide down onto his back. He says, you just jump flat. And they only had one other horse to double that one. And the coordinator took him out and brought the other one in. He says, now I don't have another double. He says, you better land on this one right. So there's little things like that that people don't understand about horses. And even being raised around them and everything, I didn't think about it, you know. But this is really cool. In the scene where I was with Lloyd and Jimmy, were in the arena, and I was talking to them about shame, and there's a faucet you could turn off. The horse I was on that year, Cracker, and the first setup, they had us like you and I are now, and the camera was kind of over here. So the next setup, they wanted me here, and the camera was over there. Well, we forgot to tell Cracker. And I come riding up, and I got where they wanted me. But by the end of the scene, Cracker's back here at the old mark.
Oh, okay.
And the director's like, what happened? You were great. I said, we forgot to tell Cracker. He said, what do we do? I said, just... So I stepped him up that one step, and I petted on him. And then I trotted him off and brought him back to that new mark and petted on him, and then did it again. I said, okay, now we're ready. And the next take, Cracker stood with it, you know, so they could get that shot.
It takes a lot of horse training in these shows and these movies that involve the Western lifestyle. I heard at one point on Yellowstone there was a horse that reared up and he wasn't supposed to in that moment, and you actually stepped in and calmed him down. Walk us through what happened in that moment and the tools that you use to bring him down. And also, like, how do you explain to non-horse people what's going on and when it's dangerous and when it's okay?
Well, that day, the incident I was just talking about, Taylor Sheridan stepped out afterwards and says, hey, that's a perfect example. These are not motorcycles. These are living, thinking, moving, feeling creatures, and we have to treat them that way. And what you're talking about, I'm not sure. You know, there's so many stories come up, and this is one of the things I get a kick out of. I have guys telling stories about me, and I'm like, it wasn't that way. But yes, it wasn't. I was there. And I said, well, I was there too. And it wasn't quite that dramatic or whatever. So I'm not sure what you're talking about, the horse rearing up. And the only thing I can remember is there was some lady there that was selling the book rights to the movie rights to her book to Taylor, and she got on the horse and instead of using the saddle horn, used the reins, and the horse went over on her, and I run in there and got him, and it wasn't the horse's fault.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
her fault.
Mhm.
And, I didn't want to screw Taylor's deal up by telling her, hey, you shouldn't be on a horse.
Yeah.
But, so I just talked to the horse and called the horse down. They're a magnificent creature. I was a head wrangler on Manhattan. It's TV series dead and gone now, but so I showed up. I'd been working out in Louisiana on another movie. And I flew in, and they said, these guys have been to riding tests. They can ride. They're good riders. Well, the one, when he went to get on the horse, went to put the wrong foot in the stirrup. I'm like, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. So I got the other wrangler, and I put her at the end mark, and I led the horses down to the start mark. And then I took them up, led them up there with these guys riding them, and showed them where they were supposed to go. And then I led them back, and I pet on them and talked to them where they were supposed to go. Boom, we got it in 2 takes.
Wow.
And it wasn't because of the riders, it was because of the horses. And I was raised with the attitude that whenever you think you're smarter than a horse, think about who's feeding who and who's cleaning up after who. Yeah, the horses are smarter than we are.
That's so true. So it sounds like, do you think that the producers and the creators of these shows understand the extra that you're going to also be training on set?
Well, now they kind of do, and like on Yellowstone, they all like I don't share all my secrets, and one of my secrets was I would take my horse to my end mark where I had to do dialogue, and I would sit there on that horse and pet him and talk to him. And then I'd go off about and do whatever I did, and I'd bring him back to that mark. And I sit and pet and talk to him and visit with people and stuff. They don't even know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then the scene where we then when Carter got in the wreck, we had to shoot the horse out of the pasture.
Yeah.
I had the horse I ride now, or rode in the last few years, was Cisco. I had him jacked up and rearing and spun around. They didn't show it. But we rolled up to that mark, boom. All right. And he stood there and I could do my dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't tell the other actors about that. That's kind of a livestock coordinator. When I was a head wrangler, that was something that I would do.
Mm-hmm.
Just like ranching, rodeo, everything else, there's a new generation coming into this wrangling business, and they're not quite up on it like the old timers used to be.
I mean, you might say I don't tell the other actors or the other wranglers, the other stuntmen, these secrets, but what I'm seeing is that you're a specific type of cowboy that they really don't make anymore. And I believe that's what we all really enjoy about you and anything that you do that we get to see on screen is because you remind us of our dads and our grandpas or our uncles. You remind us of this old cowboy way that is in your blood and they just don't make them anymore. What do you think makes you so unique and fearless?
I love them guys. I love my granddad. I love Benny Reynolds, even though he was, but then we're tough guys. They're tough men. I was raised with a man, Jim Harris, who was in Korea, got shot in half. They walked through and stabbed everybody in the back of the legs to make sure they were dead. He didn't grunt, didn't groan. They put him on a plane, flew him back to Helena, Montana, rolled him off in a wheelchair, told him he'd never walk again. Within a year, that man was bulldogging steers in my grandpa's arena.
Wow.
Yeah, and a good one. He was yeah, he was a tough man, and you know, I was raised around them type of guys. I seen why. Like one of the things that still upsets me, and somebody asked me my favorite scene, and I forgot about this scene I'm going to tell you about. But like when you ride in a Brandon pin, you don't go in there spinning your rope. They would jerk you out when I was a kid.
Mhm.
You just one swing here, one swing there. You know, you did not rile them cattle up.
Mhm.
And nowadays, these guys ride in there and they're lining them up
They're
down the
Cody
fence.
All. Right there in the branding pen.
Yeah, you know, when I was a kid, they'd get out of there. You're turning the cattle up. Another thing that's changed the business a lot is trailers. When I was a kid, you didn't trailer horses. You got on one and you led another one and you got to where you're going to go to work, then you get on the other horse. Yeah. So your horses were always in shape and you didn't get horses that lame up like they do now. And you know, and we didn't ride nothing until they were 5 years old hard. You know, we'd ride them as 3-year-olds to get them gentle and then they'd turn them out for a year and then the horse didn't go to work till he was 5. So I see a lot of horses that are crippled now that shouldn't be, or just need a chiropractor and they're not smart enough to figure it out.
Mhm.
So did I answer your question?
I mean, you know, it doesn't matter what comes out of your mouth. We're listening. You were here for it.
Okay, but I was asked earlier what my favorite scene was, and I said it was the scene where I roped Jimmy's horse. And that was really special to me. I wasn't supposed to rope the horse. In the first take, I just rode up and grabbed him. And I picked up a lot of broncs. And so I had a loop kind of built in my rope. The second take, he wasn't going to let me catch him. And he took off. And I seen he was headed right towards the camera. So I just stood up one swung and stuck it on him. And I thought, well, Taylor told me not to rope him. But in the script, they had me roping him, so I was like, well, the scene got over, and I was like, Taylor, and the other kid, one of the cameramen come out from behind the camera. That was the greatest shot I ever filmed. My God, I had all the actors, all the horses. I see the loop come out and around the horse. Oh God, it was great. I turned and looked at Taylor, and he says, yeah, we couldn't have staged it better, bud. But now that I think about it, and what you were talking about, old school cowboys, one of the reasons this scene is favorite to me, when we were branding calves, it was at the old McDowell place in Wisdom, Montana, where I'd actually worked when I was 19 years old. And built jack leg fence there for them, and some of that jack leg fence is still there. But anyway, we got ready, and the stunt coordinator come up and says, "They're all you're in the first take." So that meant to me, all the calves are slick. I don't have to worry about which one I rope, because none of them are branded, and they aren't riled up yet. So they hollered action, and I had Ryan Bingham over here and Dean Thompson, one of the ranch hands, on my other side. When they said action, neither one of them moved. So I just rode old Cisco and kind of squeezed that herd, and one big long-legged red calf run out in front of me about from here to that pole, 2 feet, went to the fire with him, turned back, the calf was backing out of the herd, and I dropped my rope behind him, and he backed into my rope. I took him to the fire, come and roped another one. And it's them going, whoa, 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 we got enough. We're got enough.
You're gonna brand the whole pen.
Yeah. And then, so now the pressure's on everybody else. Ryan Bingham, Jake Reams, Ethan Lee, they're supposed to be cowboys and ropers, right? Well, Forrie J just swung one about 15 feet away. These guys didn't want to miss. So, of course, they got their butts tight. They couldn't catch nothing. Like that was really special for me, and thank you God for that loop fitting that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like that's what it feels like in rodeo too, where you're just like, oh man, my horse or God just made me look really good. This is when I exit stage left because it doesn't get much better than that.
Since I started this journey, what was it, 2017, I've been put in a world, in a place, I don't understand all of this. But I have become to realize that I have a platform that I can change some things, change some people's lives. And I'll go down on a knee and ask God to give me the words and to guide my actions, because I don't know what I'm doing or why I'm here, you know what? And there's been times like it, the one I'm feeling right now is the first time I went to Cowboys Helping Cowboys. I got down on a knee backstage and asked God to guide my words and to help me through this. And when I got done, I couldn't tell you what I said. You know, everybody's patting me on the back and hugging me and kissing my cheek. And oh my God, it was later on that evening before I could remember what I'd said.
Wow.
Because God was, and you know, I'm a wild man. I'm a sinner. Yeah, but I wouldn't be here with you right now. I wouldn't be in this position. And Cody and I were talking on the way in. He's like, "What about all of it? You know, you're a cowboy." I said, "Yes, I would much rather be chasing a cow off a cliff, wild cow off a cliff somewhere on one of my good horses. But I've been given this platform for a reason, and I've seen changes in society and in my culture. And I think one of the biggest things is that I make it all right to be country. You can be country. You can be cowboy. We're good people. We are the salt of this country. Rural America feeds America. You know, so, and like, there's a little boy in line, and I gave him a baseball card. I said, "I'll be checking your handshake out here in a minute." And by God, he got home. And from the very beginning, I've always told these boys, I always make them shake my hand. And if they don't grip it, I tell them, you never get a second chance at a first impression. And that handshake's your first impression. And if they don't squeeze back, just mash them. And I've had dads come back and moms, lots of moms. You know, I never thought about that. Thank you, thank you. And this has happened to me a few times, and I can see it usually coming. But there'll be like a little 70-pound boy, and he'll come up and put all 70 pounds in that handshake. He's just trying to mash my hand, and I love it. And you know, and that's when I started realizing that I am making a difference, and I better watch my P's and Q's. I'm not as vulgar as I used to be because of this. And everybody's watching me. And now, what we got to realize is you're wearing a cowboy hat, they're all watching you. When you sit down at the table, you take your hat off like you're supposed to. When you meet a lady, you tip your hat or take it off. There's responsibilities that come with wearing this. And they're not just watching me anymore. They're watching all of us. And it's a good time for us to spread the Western way of life and our respect and our culture.
I love that. And I think that every mom in here is going to take a clip of you saying that exactly. And that's going to be at their family dinner every night. And they're going to say, listen up, boys. Cowboy Forrie J. Smith said, take your hat off at the dinner table.
That's right. My grandma, you didn't wear a hat past the door.
Okay.
Your head coat and spurs. Benny Reynolds, he wouldn't take them off, but she'd make him put them around on the front so he wasn't spurring her furniture.
Oh, you know what? Everybody thinks it's the dad or it's the cowboy that walks in the door that's in charge of the household, but it's not. The minute you open that door, it is the woman's house, and you better do as she says.
Yes, ma'am. You know, that's one of the things that I see nowadays is this female male relationships has really gotten weird. And my grandma run the roost. You never heard a loud word. Now I heard some heated discussions in that bedroom, but my grandma run everything. I asked Granddad one day, I said, what about all this stuff, women working, and why don't Grandma have a job? He says, there's nothing that woman could do. There's no amount of money that woman could make to replace what she does at this ranch. She keeps me lined out. She keeps you lined out. She keeps this ranch lined out. She is the heart and soul of the Palmers. And there's no amount of money she could make to do that. And that's my grandma would drive the tractor while we were picking up hay and then get off and we'd go unload the trailer of hay and she would have lunch ready by the time we got unloaded. And then she would stay in and get stuff. By the time we got our first load in back after lunch, she would be out there to help us unload. And then when we got done in the evenings, she'd have a big dinner ready for us. I mean, this woman was phenomenal, and I understand what Granddad was talking about. And I think one of the problems, this is what Granddad says. He says, when a woman walked in a bar and put her foot up on the bar rail and lit a cigarette and ordered a shot of whiskey, she lost respect for herself. And men lost respect for her. And that it will be probably within your lifetime, and I'm seeing it, men are going to lose respect for themselves. And that's where we're at right now. We got a lot of males running around, but you don't see a lot of men anymore opening and closing doors for women. And you know, being men. Yeah, I was raised when I walked out the door, I'd be dressed to defend myself and my property and my family. I wasn't wearing no shorts and flip-flops. You were ready to defend yourself. I've been carrying a knife since I was a little kid. In grade school, I went to a grade school, 13 kids in 8 grades. And when the new teachers took over, I whipped my knife out to sharpen my pencil, and she, oh my God, it's second grade, third grade maybe. She, oh my God, you got a knife? I said, yeah, I don't leave the house without one. There was 13 kids. She confiscated 11 knives that day.
Oh, boy.
The only ones that didn't have knives were the Harn girls, and they lived right next door. And so my grandma was on the school board, and I went home and told Grandma, well, we'll get this taken care of. So by the end of the week, we all had to give up our knives in the morning, and then we got them back at night when we left. Well, that ended. My grandma was on the school board, and she got that taken care of where we could keep our knives.
Welcome to Wyoming, right?
Montana.
Oh, Montana.
Well, that's part of being a man. If you have a knife, you can survive. That's what my granddad taught me. By the time I was 10 years old, I could make meat. I could train a horse. I knew how to defend myself with a knife, a club, a gun. I was a warrior. And I had that confidence all my life. I've walked into rooms with multimillionaires, multi-billionaires, and I'm just as good or better than they are because I can survive with a knife. When the world goes to hell, you'll be looking for Forrie J because I'm surviving.
Yes, and that's what makes you a cowboy.
Yeah. I never thought of that, but that's a kind of a cowboy attitude, ain't it?
Yeah. When you look back on your journey from stuntman to cowboy to main actor on a hit show, what achievements are you most proud of?
Um, the two things I'm proudest of don't really have anything to do with the film industry. The one's being called a rodeo legend, belonging to the Bareback Rider Hall of Fame. And the other one is everywhere I've lived, I've been called a good neighbor. I'm really proud of that. 'Cause I feel that if you take care of your neighbor takes care of his neighbor, and that just spreads, pretty soon you're taking care of the whole community. Community's taking care of the city. It's just, that's what we're supposed to do. And especially being raised out like I was in the middle of nowhere, you got to depend on your neighbors, because there's times we couldn't get to town, but we had neighbors that would come plow us out and help us get to where we could get to the barn to get our hay to feed the cows or whatever. And like when my grandma died, we didn't cook a meal. We didn't feed a horse, clean a barn. The neighbors, boom. We didn't have any choice. You stay here, you get over this. We'll take care of it. There's women in the kitchen cooking. There was men out feeding and taking care of the livestock. And that they were our neighbors. And I hope to God I'm a good neighbor. And one neighbor they were as liberal as they get. I mean, they say they relocated rattlesnakes, but we got along, and they told me, thanked me for being a good neighbor, and I thanked them, and that's what this world needs. Is we all got to get along. I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, or what you are. You can be an American. We're Americans first, and you can be a neighbor 1st. And that's the way they were. We were neighbors, and we talked, and he changed my philosophies a little bit, and I changed his a little bit. And then I had an event in Chicago. Well, I wasn't going to miss Larry Mahan's memorial. So I rerouted to where I flew into DFW, and I went to Larry's memorial. And then I left and I got on a plane to Chicago. And I sat down next to this older man, and he kind of got a smirk on his face. And I said, well, you might look like you're going to be fun to travel with. And he goes, yeah, well, I think you and I are probably not going to get along.
Oh,
And I
okay.
said, oh, yeah? And he goes, yeah, we're probably completely different sides of the political realm. And I said, well, let's talk about that. So when we got off the plane in Chicago, he waited in the tunnel for me to shake my hand and thank me for opening his mind to some things that he had never thought of, and the perspective. He says, I never thought about the perspective difference. And what I mean there is, all right, I don't know if you follow me on social media, but you see a lot of sunsets, and a lot of beautiful scenery on my social media. There's people that don't see sunsets. They couldn't. When I was in Charlotte, North Carolina, I couldn't see a star. I never mind a sunset or a sunrise. Well, now what? That person that's raised like that is not going to have the same perspective that I do, that I live to see what kind of sunset we're going to have tonight. They've never seen a calf born. They've never had to kill one. Yeah, so it's not really that they're bad people. They just don't have the perspective we have. And we need to spread this. And that's where I think me making it being okay to be country. Speak out, spread it around. The country needs it. At one time, we were all country.
Yes.
When the slave trader, what was his name, founded this country.
Oh no! Don't give me a history.
Columbus. Yeah, after Columbus landed here, everybody was a farmer. Everybody was a rancher. Everybody was country.
One of the things to add to that as well is, in the sunsets, in the trials, and the beautiful moments with all the animals, all the small things, that's where we see God. And you have to think about another person's perspective in a big city that doesn't get to go outside, even their apartment or their cubicle. They have to look harder, I feel like, to see God. And that's, I think, part of the separation as well.
Yeah, I agree. So, we gotta open our hearts and open our minds, and then people will come to us. God's here, and there's right and there's wrong. Everybody knows what it is in here, and we're gonna come back. 1973, Merle Haggard wrote, released the song "You're Walking on the Fighting Side of Me." That was 1973 when they're shooting kids at the campuses and stuff. Well, we came out of that. We came out of 9/11. We're going to come out of this because we're Americans.
Yes. We talked about what you're most proud of in your journey up to this point. What is something that you wish you could go back and change in your journey?
On the drive up here, that very thought was on my mind for a few hundred miles. And it's in one of my poems and songs on my record. And I was like, you know what? I wouldn't be where I'm at. And I love where I'm at. I love what I'm able to do. So when I was sitting there thinking, well, I should have done this. I should have done that. And I was like, well, then I wouldn't be where I'm at. And a lot of it was rodeo and the mistakes I made rodeoing and the things I should have done different. I was in the top 25 a couple different years, but they wouldn't let me. I could ride good enough, but I didn't have the right attitude. I didn't dress right. I didn't all the things that, the PRCA wanted. And if I'd have went to the national finals, if I'd have became a world's champion, I might not have pursued the film industry like I did. And I might not be up here talking to y'all today and being able to help my culture and my heritage.
Change lives.
So, yeah, thank God. So wouldn't really change anything now. I mean, there's probably some things I shouldn't have done, and I should have done some things different, but I might not be here if I had.
Right, and you might not be where you are now, but you wouldn't be who you are now either. And we thoroughly enjoy who you are.
Well, thank you. I kind of do too when I let myself. I kind of had a come to Jesus meeting on the way up here. I've been letting it all really bother me. I've noticed that I lay down, I'm just like, hey, you know what? Just let it roll. You have faith. God is guiding you already. Just enjoy it for you. And so that's what I'm doing. That's what the click in my heels was all about.
Yeah.
Like, all right, yeah.
Yeah.
Understand
Yeah.
all that. Jesus Christ is carrying it for me.
Yes.
I'm here. Let's rock and roll, have fun.
I think it's easy for all of us to get in our heads and want things to go a certain way and be angry even at God when they don't go a certain way, but realizes that we're not here to work for ourselves. We are here to work for God. And you might not even, I know you do want to be here, but even if you didn't, you're here because it's where God has you, and that is your purpose. And speaking to even one person taking away something brilliant from your interview today, you might have changed that one person's life. And you may never know that you did that, but that's God's plan. So we have to trust in God's plan, even though we don't really know where it's going.
Yeah, that's another thing. I was like, okay, just settle down. I owned the rights to a Christmas movie for years, and trying to do this Christmas movie. It was about a jumping horse at first, and we changed it to a barrel horse. And this young lady, Sydney, right here, is our barrel horse consultant on the movie. And we just things keep coming up. They keep coming up. And like one deal, this film distributing company was going to put up half the money, but we had to use this one actress. Well, first time I Googled her, it comes up she's running around with a jock strap, and that's all on.
Uh-oh.
I'm like, so I read a little bit about her, and I said, no, we don't want this woman. And my other producers agreed with me that, yeah, she might pull something between now and when this movie comes out that nobody would make people not want to watch it.
Not in our industry, and that's going to be the target market. It's not going to fly.
Right. Yeah. So then they pulled their money. So this has been going on, and we're going to start filming January 24th because we got half the money, and we're going to just, whatever God's plan is. And that one of the other producers, the guy that owns the other half of the script, Tomas, that's what I told him. I said, God's got a plan. We just got to relax and wait and see what's going to happen here. And he's agreed with me. He's very spiritual also. And he's like, yeah, we don't know what it is, do we? I said, no, we just have to have faith. And we're going to have faith, and we're going to make this beautiful movie. And whoever steps up, I having trouble. Right? Hollywood doesn't like me. I stand for everything Hollywood and the liberals and the wokes and the people out there hate, So that's one of the reasons I'm probably not on any of the spinoffs. Taylor's in a corner. And once he gets out of that corner and gets that $1 billion check from NBC, I imagine he might have to do something different. But I'm working with Graham Family Films. There's other film companies that people are producers and stuff are calling me. Realizing that I can be something else besides a cowboy. I just finished a movie where I played kind of a modern day witch doctor.
A witch hunter?
Wizard.
Oh, wizard?
Yeah, I don't know. He's kind of, I don't know, but it was fun. It was really cool. And I don't know, y'all watched my clip. Christina Voros, I've made her cry. She's one of the directors on Yellowstone. And she'll come up to me and, oh, God dang it, I had to wipe tears out of my eyes again. Well, this last movie, Sunshine, had about 3/4 of a page of dialogue about having faith and hope. Hope. Your body doesn't know the difference in fake hope or false hope or real hope. Your body, if you keep hope and faith, your body will keep fighting. And that was part of my dialogue. By the time I got done with it, the director, and it was a man, he's like, dang it. Oh, he says, that was, give me a hug. And I said,
Yeah.
I guess you like that hug. Oh, it's beautiful. So I had to call Christina and tell her I made another director cry too. But it's pretty cool. People don't realize how tiring it is. There's scenes that the scene's 3 minutes. In that 3 minutes, I go, like when I was teaching Carter about the saddle. Well, I'm mad at Rip because he's making me stay. So I got that anger going on. And then I got I'm happy because the boy's paying attention and learning about the saddle. And I got to show that joy. And then Rip mouths off and makes me go out and haul panels. Now I got to be upset again. So I got to go through all those emotions in 3 minutes and then do it again. Then we're going to move the camera over here and you're going to do it again. And it wears you out.
Right, I can imagine. It's probably the closest you'll ever be to being a woman.
I love you. Okay. There's the one that really is when, who's a friend of mine, Wade, the guy we cut the brand off of. We're driving down the road and he's riding up the road with some dudes. Well, we're all happy in the truck, yee-haw, yee-haw, and then boom, I got to jump out, get in this fight, and then tear off, and then turn around, come back. Okay. You had to do that half a dozen times that day.
Yeah.
So a couple days later, well, it was during COVID. We're having a COVID day. We all had to stay in the bubble. And Taylor's there, we're roping steers. I walked up, like, boom, and this shoulder. What? I said, put your acting coach hat on for a minute. I need some advice. He says, no, those days are over. I'm not an acting coach anymore. I'm not talking about it. What? What's your problem? I said, well, how come these scenes wear me out so bad? Just dink me. And he kind of shook his head and he turned around, whacked me in the chest. He goes, it means you're doing it right, dummy. And walks away. So the scene, like when I told Jimmy goodbye at the fence, I knew it was going to be a heartfelt scene. So instead of having my stand-in, and a stand-in is the guy that goes and stands in your spot so they can focus the camera. So you don't have to be there for half an hour, 40 minutes. Well, I told my stand-in to stand down. So I went and did my own standing in and started it. And Jefferson seen what I was doing. And he had quizzed me about, these are a couple honors. Jennifer Landon and Jefferson White asked me about my acting and where's that coming from. Two great actors. Anyway, so when he seen what I was doing, he came over and sent his standing off. By the time Taylor rolled cameras, we were both almost in tears. And when we got done, I hollered at Taylor, and Taylor walked over and fist bumped me and said, good shit, man. I was like, yeah, thanks. And I'm trying to keep, sucking it back up, And I turn around and we're all walking, the rest of the bunkhouse crew's with us, and you just got a compliment from Taylor Sheridan. And I didn't think about it until they said that. But Taylor's like your grandpa and grandma, where my family was. They didn't tell you good job. You got your butt chewed if you did it wrong, but you didn't get good job, way to go, pat on the back. Well, Taylor's the same way. But in that scene, he came and complimented me. And so now I got to suck it up and go do another scene in the bunkhouse. I can't remember what the scene was, but that's why actors get paid what they get paid.
Yes.
There's times it's hard to shed some characters.
Right. And that's, you're having to hold that within inside of you. So you are truly feeling that while you're acting.
Yes.
And it does breed a lot of emotion. And then you have to, I'm assuming, work on that once you guys are all finished. And getting a compliment from somebody that never gives compliments feels like a huge win.
I just won me an Emmy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we close, Forrie, what is the legacy that you hope to leave behind?
That we're all here to make the world a better place. All animals take care of their habitat and their surroundings. Horses, cows, if they have a chance, they don't overgraze. They travel, they move around, they take care of their habitat. And I feel as human beings we should do the same thing. And when I got my doctorate and I gave my speech, I think one of the reasons I got the doctorate for humanity, and I don't know where this comes from, but even when I was hitchhiking, I would pick up garbage. I remember one guy wouldn't let I had a sack. And he's like, "What's that?" I said, "Oh, just some stuff." "Oh, yeah, you ain't having that in my car." I had to leave it, but I had it all sacked up. I just always felt that it's our responsibility to make the world a better place. And even if it's just a smile, a hello, patting somebody on the back, picking up some trash, whatever you can do today to make the world a better place. I think we all have that responsibility. And I would like to leave that legacy that, hey, we're human beings. Let's make the world a better place.
Taking care of God's creation.
Yeah, that was a good. I'm going to use that.
Sure. Well, I mean, you'll have to pay me for it, but sure. Before, one last thing. What is your advice to me and everybody watching on how to live and ride fearless? What is your advice to me and to the crowd, everybody watching, on how to live and ride fearless?
Don't look back. Today's today. What happened yesterday. And, think about what you did wrong, forget it. Think about what you did right and build on it and go on. Ride fearless. You have that. You did that. Go on with it. Even if it was a mistake and you screwed up, you still tried.
Yes.
You still have that behind you. Mm-hmm. So I think that would be, just don't forget yesterday. Think about today. Ride fearless.
Thank you so much, everybody. Forrie, J. Smith.
Hey, thank you all. Appreciate you. Appreciate this beautiful woman right here. And I've got about 15 minutes before I go to my next deal. If somebody wants me to sign a T-shirt, I think I got a few more left over here. Got some baseball cards, and it's the only chance to get them. If you miss me here, you can get them at Cinco Ranch Mercantile Booth 22900 at Cowboy Christmas. Thank you all. God bless.
Thank you.